Hi, I'm Rufus Wainwright, and you're on CD now. I'm very proud of the fact that I can do that. It can either be a huge band or just me alone at the piano. I think that's a testament to my experience at this point of being able to. I think that's a very good thing for any musician to be able to do, and so I was happy to do that in a lot of ways. I mean, the truth of the matter is that I'm not, I'm not a pop star, and I'm not raking in the cash, and it has taken a lot of money for me to make my records. I mean, my records are not cheap records. They're pretty gilded. So, so in order to do that, I have to be able to scale down because I don't make a lot of money touring. So there was a necessity for me to do that. But I am happy that I had to do that because that's a realistic notion. I mean, I'm not doing this for the money. There was no illusions in it, in my view of showbiz, and I saw, what managers are like, what management is like, what record companies are like, especially when you're marginal, and I learned how to sort of. I'll always be able to have my own little show somewhere. I can always stop the car in some little town and say, well, I'm going to be playing tonight, and I think people will usually show up. So I know how to work it at that level, which is very, very useful as a musician. I realized that if you can, a lot of it is press manipulation, especially with them. I mean, the press really kept them going. I mean, certain writers like for the New York Times or for things, if they could do a good interview and come off smelling like roses, it really just got them that many more fans who would come to their shows, though it wasn't in a massive thing. So I kind of realized the importance of that at a young age. But I think there was that, but also I've always been a big fan of like the 50s TV, like the Jack Parr show and the early Tonight Show and great, old Judy Garland interviews and Debbie Reynolds and whatever, that kind of campy style. So I always loved that. I watched those things a lot as a kid and just wanted to do interviews like that. It's definitely a skill that you have to develop, and it took me a while to develop it. It didn't come naturally to me right away, though it came pretty fast. And it really is something that you have to look at in terms of a game, as a game, and as something that really, you have to be honest in terms of this interviewer here, they've got a life to lead, and they. Why don't we just make it a fun conversation and make it easy on both of us, which I think really the person who's being interviewed has to do in order to, just get the person to write nice things about them or cut them nice, I just realized that it's not something that, you really have no, unless you work it and manipulate it in a good way. I mean, just to make it pleasant to both people. You really have no power. They can just go home and write whatever they want about you, and they can cut you however you want. So you have to know how to work in those terms. The song "Poses" was the song that I wrote after deciding to not write songs for a while and just experience life, or whatever, just go out a lot and take stock of my age at that point, and my fame and my stamina in a lot of ways, and I really consciously decided not to write anything or to work on anything for a while, and just get some life experiences. So I did that, and then Poses sort of rose out of that whole cloud of smoke and stuff. And that song, I mean, on one hand, it's about me in a lot of ways, but it's also about a lot of several other characters who I encountered living in New York in that circuit of going out all the time and that demi-monde kind of world, and I whatever it's in a lot of ways it became sort of a warning to myself to not be overtaken by just that lifestyle, and on the other hand, a warning to those people too who are, you know, I think a little more susceptible to that lifestyle than I am at this point. So sort of, it's a warning kind of song.